Sadia Ali Aden, and I went back to Somalia 2011 to take part in the famine effort to feed the famine victims. I have a twofold question. My first one is, in October, Mary Harbour, who wrote the book titled Getting Somalia Wrong, spoke at USIP. And what she said was, the Turkish government and the Turkish people have done amazing job in 1 year, more than what the United States and the international community have done in 20 years. What can the United States and international community do to re-engage Somalia and use the Turkish model? Because that was very successful. And the second question is that there is Amazon troops inside Somalia. Each soldier gets paid $2,200. The Somali soldier gets 100. Now I know it was increased to $300. And when they get injured, they're removed from payroll. Is there a way to abandon the new Amazon troops that are coming and redirect or rechannel that funding to pay the Somali soldiers and increase their salary so they can be empowered and defend their people from Shabaab and external also forces and secure the Somali sovereignty? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My name is Mohammed Ademo. I'm a graduate student at Columbia University in New York. My question is, first of all, I wish you well in your country. I hope, I'm very much satisfied on your answer about the journalists, but as you know, about 12 journalists has been killed in just the last year and many more over the years, and I hope you continue to do more in terms of protecting the journalists. And as you know, of course, the journalism in Africa is not as developed as in, say, in other parts of the world, but I hope you be more considerate in also building the journalism institution and protecting the journalists. My question is, as you try to build a Somalia that is at peace with itself and also with its neighbors, you also know that Somalia does not have a very good history with some of its neighbors, and I'm an Ethiopian journalist, so you sort of know where I'm going with this. So there, as you know, Ethiopia has forces on the ground in your country that is not necessarily part of AMISOM and other efforts. And you also know that Al-Shabaab was emboldened in a lot of ways after Ethiopia's foray into your country in 2006. And how are you going to build a national consensus given the history and also the sensitivities that people have towards Ethiopian neighbors, and you also know what is transpiring in Kenya. So if you could talk about those things, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Basto. If I start, the Somali forces cannot be trusted. Well, I would like to say the past, it was not only the Somali forces or troops cannot be trusted, but there are cases where some people argue Somalis cannot be trusted, not only the forces. That has been disproved. You see, our forces, that notion of they cannot be trusted is not true. There is an element of discipline, yes, we do not deny that. But issue of trust and responsibility when it comes, although it has a relationship with the discipline. But what to trust? If you wanted to know where the pipe leaks, you have to put water into the pipe. Then only you can know where the pipe leaks. If nothing has been given to them, how someone claims that they are not trustworthy? When they are given something, then only one can claim they are not trustworthy. So nothing has been given to them. So that was not a fair judgment on saying it's not trustworthy. But it is our responsibility, the Somali government, to make our forces professional security forces. which it's not issue of trust, not trusting, but with systems and tools in place that can be controlled, everything, so that can prove that nothing has been misused or abused or stolen or whatever. So that's what we are working. And the issue of training and disciplining and making the indoctrination of loyalty to the country is among the challenges that we are facing. So we're working on that, but the issue of they are not trustworthy is not a fair judgment. With the young lady who was asking me about the role of the private sector, Somalia has been surviving for the last 20 years because of the private sector. Imagine if these good Somalis who living here in Washington and who left back members of the family in remote areas of Somalia, if they cannot afford to send $100 at the end of the month. A mother, a grandmother who is living in a remote area, who needs $100 or $50 a month. It's a private companies that make it possible that someone in Washington to send $100 to a remote village, and that person, that recipient, gets that $100 within an hour or even less. It's the private people who make possible that. Somalia today, in the African standards, is one of the best countries when it comes to telecommunication, particularly the mobile phone. That are private people. And by the way, private people and the remittances are the largest employers. So in that remote area, very far from any town or city, the person who is herding the livestock, the cattle or the camel, has a mobile phone today in Somalia. As far as someone can read 1, 2, 3, he uses mobile phone. And that links to, and I believe many of you talk to their family members who are very, very remote parts of Somalia, not necessarily in town. So that is the private company. Today, private companies or private entities, today, the kind of education we have in Somalia is all of it private. Yes, that does not give opportunity to the poor, but at least they are giving opportunity even those who can pay $10 a month. If all of us, even those who can afford to pay $10, cannot have the opportunity, it would have been different. Today, Somalia has a very good number of schools, universities. We have medical graduates who graduate Somali universities and who are today doctors in Somalia. We have engineers who graduated Somali universities. And the person one of the persons who were proposed to be an accountant general, he was a graduate from Somali University. So these are private. So in our way, in our vision, private-public partnership is the only way out. The Somali government has no capacity. The international community will never come one time. So it's the private who has been. And now today, the biggest projects in Somalia and now, as of today, is implementing by private companies. There is a private company that is investing $100 million to the reconstruction or reconstitution of the power in Somalia. And when we compare it with another international company who said they will reconstitute the power in Mogadishu 2 years, these guys, they said, we provide power to Mogadishu within 11 months. And they proved that they can do that when we appointed a committee to discuss with them. This is a Somali company, and they are investing $100 million, starting with 50 megawatt power plant in Mogadishu. So the way forward for Somalia is the private and private-public partnership. So it is a choice of the day today. Saadia, thank you very much for the good and generous words that you said. The Turkish model in Somalia is very, very clear, as Sadia said. They said, we want to do this thing in Somalia, and they do it. They don't have the restrictions that many of the Western world has got. They are there, they come there, starting from their top leadership, the Prime Minister of the country with his family, the rest, the Deputy Prime Minister, ministers. There is a Deputy Prime Minister who comes to Somalia every other month, just to monitor and see how the projects are going on. They are building or implementing projects that are really tangible ones. Building one of the most modern hospitals in the African continent, as they said, 200-bed hospital with all the necessary facilities of a modern hospital. There is a 100-bed hospital for children only, which is also undergoing. There is another 100-bed hospital for disabled people and the people of have a level of disabilities. These are some of the projects, schools, many other projects are running. They are there. They are doing the work there. They are driving their own cars. They are moving the city. They are building. They are teaching. And there are a number of clinics that provide free service to the people in Mogadishu alone. They are doing the same thing. They started doing the same thing in Puntland and Somaliland. And the good thing is that they have the minimum casualties. There are only one Turkish guy killed in Mogadishu for the last 2 years. And that man, he was a private man who just went, businessman who just went in no-go areas of the city. Every city has a no-go area. He went to the no-go area, and unfortunately, he was killed. Other than that, there is no any other incident. They drive the ambulances. Today, Mogadishu is cleaner because of the support of the Turkish. They provided the garbage collection trucks and everything, and the city is cleaner today. They are building 23 kilometers of road as a pilot project in Mogadishu. So that's true, and we give that credit to the Turkish. But practices are always different. Procedures and systems are always one of the benefits why the Turkish has done. They were not there in Somalia for the last 20 years. So they have not, their mind has not been shaped by this media and sometimes rumors that Somalia is not safe, Somalia is this, Somalia is that. They are there, and the government people are there, thicker. The government aid administration agent is there with more, their embassy is there, ambassador, full-fledged staff, military attaché, everybody, commercial attaches are there. While the international NGOs staff are not there. They all are in Nairobi. When you ask them, why don't you go to Mogadishu? Mogadishu is not safe. Why? Because they have good life in Nairobi. Their kids goes to the international school, which is not available in Mogadishu. They drive their own cars. If they go to Mogadishu, they may remain. They might be restricted, their movement and all this. So they cannot. Now is the beginning now. That trend is changing now. We have very good offices of United Nations now coming back to Somalia. Many international NGOs are also coming back. Now things are changing, and soon we hope that there will be more of that. Regarding Sadia, the issue of AMISOM and Somalia, yes, AMISOM forces, they did a lot of good work in Somalia. They fought, they died, they injured, wounded in Somalia. A lot of mothers and kids shed tears in Uganda, in Burundi, in Djibouti, in Kenya, because of their beloved ones killed in Somalia. So we give that credit to them, and they deserve to be paid that amount. But what Saadia's stand is true is that the treatment that our boys are receiving is not fair. That's the point. If I take an example, our security forces, they are paid by the